and welcome to the 7th grade Christmas Carol.
It was Christmas time in London. There was a man named Ebenezer Scrooge. He was a hard-working man, but at the same time, he was miserable, greedy, cruel, and a stingy person who didn't know what generosity meant. A day before Christmas, Scrooge and his clerk, Bob Cratchit, were working in the office. Scrooge, as always, was counting his money, while Bob was counting the minutes to go home to his family.
I'm so cold in this office, but Mr. Scrooge don't want to turn on the heater. He says it's a waste of money.
Suddenly, the front door opened and Mr. Scrooge's nephew came inside.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Christmas? Bah! Christmas is only a lie.
You don't mean that, Uncle.
Of course I mean that. Christmas is just an excuse not to work. Besides, what reason do you have to be happy? You're so poor.
Come on, Uncle, and what reason you have to be sad? You're so rich.
Bah!
Don't get angry, Uncle.
Why wouldn't I? I live in a crazy world with fools. Merry Christmas. What is Christmas? It's just a time to pay bills with money you don't have. A time where you see yourself a year older and not a minute richer. A time where you buy gifts that you can't even afford.
But, Uncle,
Nephew, go celebrate Christmas your own way and let me celebrate my way.
I know there are some things that I didn't do right and some things that I didn't take advantage of. And one of those things is Christmas. Christmas is the only time where people seem to get along just fine. It's a time where people open their hearts to one another. Maybe, Uncle, Christmas hasn't given me a gold or silver coin, but it does good to me. That's why I say, blessed be Christmas.
Wow, that was a wonderful speech. I wonder why you don't work for the government.
Don't get angry, Uncle, and come to my house tomorrow. My wife and I are preparing a delicious dinner. You'll be our special guest.
Thanks, but no.
But why, Uncle?
Why did you get married?
Because I fell in love.
Because you fell in love? Have a nice day.
But Uncle, you've never came to my house before, and you're using my marriage as an excuse. That's no fair.
Have a nice day.
I don't need anything from you. I don't ask you for something. Why can't we be friends?
I said, have a nice day.
I'm sorry, Uncle, that you took a decision, but I insist celebrating Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Have a nice day, a Happy New Year, and goodbye.
As you wish, Uncle. And Bob, have a Merry Christmas.
I wish the same for you. Goodbye.
Then Mr. Scrooge's nephew left the office.
How about that? A clerk who earns minimum salary with a wife and kids, talking about Merry Christmas. He must be crazy.
Mr. Scrooge, I filed all the paperwork, even swept out the ashes, and brought in more firewood. Well, it's closing time, Mr. Scrooge.
Fine, if your work is finished, you can go now.
But, Mr. Scrooge, tomorrow's Christmas, a day to spend with family.
You'd like the day off, I suppose.
Well, yes, after all, it's Christmas.
Christmas? Bah! Fine. Take tomorrow off. Be here early the next day.
Yes, sir. Have a Merry Christmas.
Humbug.
Scrooge opened the door, and Cratchit went home. Then Scrooge returned to his desk to finish his accounts. After a few hours, Scrooge closed his account books and proceeded to close the office. When he got home, he climbed up the steps to his bedroom, sat in the chair beside the fire, and started to eat his supper. Suddenly, he heard old bells ringing and a strange and loud noise coming from outside.
Who's making that noise? I must have fallen asleep.
But the strange noise continued until he saw a ghost coming through the bedroom door.
I think I'm dreaming.
No, this is no dream.
I know you. You're Marley. What do you want from me?
I want a lot from you. You see these chains? I'm changing my sins.
What sins? You were a hard worker and a good businessman.
Businessman, I took advantage of people while I was alive. Now I wander the earth, unable to find peace and happiness. Hear me out, Scrooge. 3 spiritual visitors. The first will arrive when the clock strikes 1. The second will arrive at the same time on the next day. The third will arrive on the last stroke of the 12th hour.
Then the ghost left the room, floating through the window. Scrooge closed the window and went to bed, shaking in fear, and fell asleep. The next day, when the clock struck 1, Scrooge saw a strange creature beside his bed.
Who are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past. Get out of bed and come with me.
The ghost took Scrooge through time to a small town which Scrooge started to remember. He then remembered the houses, the church, the river, the bridge, and the people.
They cannot see or hear us. They are just shadows from the past.
Look, the school's not that empty. There's a little boy alone, forgotten by his friends. I know him. Poor boy.
Now, let's see another Christmas.
Then they arrived to a house.
I remember this place. This is my house where I grew up.
Yes, it is. And you recognize that little boy sitting alone, reading?
It's me as a child, but why is he so alone?
You must know the answer.
Because my parents were always working. That is why my Christmases were always so sad and lonely.
Come, take my hand. We don't have enough time.
No, stop, go away. Don't torture me.
Don't blame me. I told you these are shadows of the things that have been.
Just take me back.
We have one more stop. Our time is running out.
Then they appeared in a garden. Scrooge was now a young man who was sitting in a garden beside a lovely young woman. The woman was crying.
I can't marry you, Ebenezer. There's something you love more than me.
Nonsense. I love no other woman.
That's true. You love money. You love it more than anything.
There's nothing wrong with loving money. We got engaged when we were poor and we were happy being poor.
I hope you're happy with the life you have chosen.
And the woman ran away from the garden. Old Scrooge and the ghost followed her. When she stopped, Scrooge could see that she was a few years older. Children laughed and played at her feet. A little girl threw her arms around the woman.
Help me tie my bonnet, Mother. Are they her children?
Yes, they are, but they could have been yours.
The door opened, and a man entered carrying many gifts.
Father.
They ran to him and hugged him. The man laughed and gave them the gifts. Then he hugged his wife,
Okay, this is weird. Just take me home.
and Scrooge appeared in his bedroom.
Oh, thank goodness it was just a dream.
Then the clock struck.
No, Ebenezer, it wasn't a dream.
I suppose you're the ghost of Christmas present?
I am the ghost of Christmas present. I have much to show you. Hurry, grab onto my robe. We cannot be late.
Scrooge touched the hem of the spirit's robe. The bedroom vanished, and Scrooge found himself on a busy, snowy street. There were many people shopping for last-minute gifts. The stores were still open, people were cooking their best meals, and the bells from the church were striking. Everybody was attending church wearing their best clothes. Everybody was happy.
Everyone looks so happy.
Of course, it's Christmas. What did you expect?
Do you mean that they're all happy just because it's December 25th?
Yes, today they can forget their problems and just enjoy being with their families. They just enjoy the food on their tables and the many blessings they receive.
Then the ghost took Scrooge to Bob Cratchit's house. Standing there at the door, the ghost proceeded to bless the house. Then Scrooge saw Bob Cratchit playing with his children, 3 boys and 2 girls.
Is this where he lives?
Of course, with his salary, this is all he can afford.
Then Mrs. Cratchit entered into the dining room, carrying a small turkey on a platter.
They look so poor. Their clothes are so old.
But you can feel love here.
Bob Cratchit lifted the youngest boy from a chair in the corner and carried him to the table.
What's wrong with the little boy? Why doesn't he walk?
His name is Tiny Tim, and his parents don't have enough money for a doctor, so he might die.
Die? There must be something that can be done. Please tell me that he won't die.
I see an empty chair in the corner. If the future is not changed, he will certainly die.
No. No.
What do you care anyway? That will diminish the world population.
At that moment, Scrooge realized that those were his own words and felt sorry for himself. Then he heard his name.
Mr. Scrooge, thanks to Mr. Scrooge for having this meal. I hope he has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Dear children, it's Christmas. I know, darling. I know, darling. I hope he has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's have a toast for our Christmas and for Mr. Scrooge. Merry Christmas and God bless us all.
Meanwhile, it was getting late. The ghost took Scrooge through different places to see how people celebrated Christmas. People who never less were poor. As Scrooge used to say, they were happy and enjoyed being together with their families and friends. Suddenly, without warning, they stood in a room.
I know that voice. It's my nephew. He's having a party.
He said Christmas is only a lie.
He should be ashamed.
He's very funny, but not a pleasant person.
You told me he's very rich.
So what, darling? His wealth is useless. He doesn't do anything with his money.
He isn't here to eat with us tonight because he's busy counting his money.
He'd rather be angry at us than have fun with us.
They don't like me.
No, unless the future changes.
How can I change the future?
The room disappeared, and they continued their journey. They visited many countries. They traveled to faraway lands. They visited the sick people who felt happy, poor people who felt rich, shelters where people felt hope. It was a long night, and everything happened in just one night. Then the ghost of Christmas present was gone.
Oh, I'm in my own bed again.
As he sat up, another ghost floated into the room. He was dressed in black, and a dark hood hid his face.
First came the ghost of Christmas past, then the ghost of Christmas present. You must be the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Are you here to show me the future and how it can change?
The ghost said nothing. He just gestured towards the door. Scrooge followed him into the street in front of his office. 2 men stood out front talking and shaking their heads.
I know these men. I do business with them. They like me even if my own nephew does not, but what are they saying about me?
Poor old Mr. Scrooge.
I know, I feel sorry for him.
He told me he's very sick.
He's taking care of him.
No one. You know he likes to be
He
alone.
doesn't have any friends either.
The ghost started walking, and Scrooge followed him down the street. Then they arrived to a tiny house.
We've been here before. This is Cratchit's house.
The ghost took Scrooge into the bedroom. There was Mr. Bob Cratchit sitting beside his son's bed. He was very sick.
Why is he crying? The last time I was here, they were so happy.
Sleeping in bed was the little kid, but he was thinner and very pale. Mrs. Cratchit came into the room.
Darling, what are we going to do? Did you ask Mr. Scrooge for help?
Yes, but he can't help us, but his nephew will.
I hope it's not too late. What will we do without our son?
Ghost, just talk to me. Is there anything I can do to help him?
The ghost did not answer. Then everything turned dark, and Scrooge appeared in a foggy and cold place.
Where are we? Is this a cemetery? Why did you bring me here?
The ghost showed Scrooge a grave.
Before I get near that grave, tell me, is this the image of what it will be, or the image of what it can be?
The ghost did not answer. Then Scrooge went to see the grave. Engraved on the headstone was the name, Ebenezer Scrooge. Then Scrooge fell to his knees.
No, no, Ghost, why do you show me this if I have lost all hope? Please tell me that I can change everything that you have shown me. I will honor Christmas in my heart. I will live in the past, in the present, and in the future. Just tell me what I can do to erase my name from that grave.
In anguish, he took the ghost's hands, but the ghost rejected him. Scrooge then woke up in his own bed.
Oh, thank you. I've been given another chance. I don't know what day it is or how long I've been with a ghost, but I don't care. I feel like a child. I want to be a child again.
Then he heard the church bells striking.
Oh, wonderful. Hey, you there. What day is today?
It's Christmas, sir. Christmas morning.
Oh, good. I haven't missed it.
Then he pulled out a bag of money and tossed a handful of coins to the boy.
Here, kid. There's a big juicy turkey in the butcher shop in the butcher shop at the end of the street. Buy it and deliver it to Bob Cratchit's house.
But, sir, this is a lot of money.
Keep the change. Hurry up. The Cratchits are hungry.
Yes, sir.
Oh, little boy.
Yes, sir.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. and Merry Christmas to you, too.
Scrooge, dressed in his finest clothes, headed towards his nephew's house. He was feeling really happy and excited. He waved to everybody in the street and treated everybody nicely.
Here, kid. Take this money and buy some Christmas candy.
Thank you, sir.
When Scrooge reached his nephew's house, his nephew was surprised to see him.
Uncle, I'm happy to see you. I'm glad you changed your mind about Christmas dinner. Come and celebrate the holidays with us.
Yes, thank you for accepting me.
His nephew's wife set an extra place at the table.
We're happy to have you here. You've arrived just in time for the turkey. Yummy.
After dinner, Scrooge said a few words.
Thank you for the marvelous dinner, but I must be on my way now. I have some other places to go and people to visit.
And Scrooge headed to Bob Cratchit's house. Mrs. Cratchit opened the door. She couldn't believe her eyes when she saw Mr. Scrooge standing in front of her.
Oh, Mr. Scrooge, what a surprise. I want to thank you for the wonderful turkey.
It was a pleasure for me.
Mr. Scrooge, please come in.
Cratchit, you work long hours without complaining for many years. I am raising your salary and I will also help you support your family.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Scrooge.
Merry-
You're so generous.
Merry Christmas.
Scrooge did more than what he said he would do. He took care of Tiny Tim as a second father would do. Some people laughed to see how he changed, but he didn't care. Scrooge never saw the ghosts again, but he had many friends and was always close to his family. Each time he had a meal with his friends and family, he would say,
God bless us. God bless us, everyone.